All rise. Hear ye, hear ye. Hamblen County Commission meeting is now in session. The Honorable Chris Cutshall presided. Please remain standing.
Thank you, Harley. We will call to order our regular scheduled monthly meeting of the Hamblen County Legislative Body this Thursday, June 22nd. I'd like to call on Commissioner Kyle Walker, please, to lead us in prayer.
Everybody bow their heads. Dear Heavenly Father, bless us today and give us the strength to do your will, to make the right decisions for Hamblen County and for our districts, not only for our own districts, but for all the districts here in Hamblen County. Give us the strength to be able to communicate with each other and talk in discussion. Let us do the right things. Thank you for this beautiful day. Keep your hand over Mr. Naismith while he's going through his recovery and everything. Give him the strength to be at the meetings. We ask all these things in your Son Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Commissioner Harville, would you please lead us in the...
Replace flag. Attention. Salute. Pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If we could, let's call the roll, please. Commissioners, let's call the roll, please, on your... Thank you. We do have a quorum. Everyone's here, and yes, Mr. Naismith, we're glad to have you back with us on your first commission meeting back.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. As we get started, the first item that we'd like to do is recognize June from the office of the mayor. June and proclamation is Dairy Month. We just wanted to make that announcement. They could not be here for a formal proclamation. However, June is Dairy Month in Hamblen County. And moving on, let's move down to public comments. Kyle, Commissioner Walker, would you please help me with that, please? Okay, we'll move into our public comment section. The first item that we have, 2A, regarding general and non-agenda items. We have one listed, and if there's anyone else who would like to speak, you can do so after Ms. Noy, you are recognized.
Linda Noe, Joe Stevens Road. What I've asked to talk about is the wheel tax. There was a proposal through the budget committee or discussion about adding $23 to our current $27 wheel tax, which when you then put the state registration fees on it, means you would be paying $80 for every vehicle you have. Every person with a vehicle or more vehicles will be paying $80. What's interesting about the wheel tax is the history of the wheel tax, which many of you know. In 2002, the wheel tax was put to a referendum. Of course, the people were not told you can vote for a wheel tax or against it. Exactly. They were told, pick your poison. Either vote for the wheel tax which will be temporary, or vote for a property tax. With that as the background, the wheel tax passed, and everybody thought it would be temporary. And a lot of people thought it was for roads, which it never was. That's just what they call it, just like calling a property tax. Well, it doesn't go to property or to fix property. It's just a tax on property. So we've had the wheel tax, the temporary wheel tax, we've had for over 20 years. A temporary tax for over 20 years. And now this commission is considering increasing the temporary wheel tax by another $20, $23, which would be about an 85% increase. What I would like you to think about is there are other ways to handle the paving of roads. There are other ways to handle that without raising the wheel tax, without raising the property tax. You have to look closely at your budget. You have to look at all the budget that you have and that other entities have. And you can pave roads. You can have the exact number that the wheel tax is going to bring in, roughly $1.4 million a year, without a tax increase of any kind. Think about that, and we'll look at that more. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Now, Ms. Noy was the only one that had signed up for public non-agenda items. Is there anyone else that would like to speak to this commission?
Gwen Holden, 8150 West Point Drive. I said I wanted my roads fixed, but I didn't ask for an increase, not on my wheel tax. I didn't want the first one, and I sure don't want a second one. Now, you can find money everywhere else to do everything else in every department in this county, but you can't find money to do our roads, which hasn't been done for years. Kids have neglected them for years, but you can find money to put everywhere else for a new garbage truck. The school system gets all the money they want. The sheriff's department got all the money he wanted. But we, as taxpayers that pay for all this stuff, can't even get our roads paved. That's a shame. And that's all they're asking for. We need our roads paved, but I don't want no wheel tax increase. Do it the way you're supposed to do it, like you do all other department heads. Get the money somewhere besides raising our wheel tax or our property tax increase. Please.
Thank you for your comments. Is there anyone else that would like to address the commission? Seeing none, we'll move to 2B. And we have no one listed. Is there anyone in the audience in attendance that would like to speak to this commission on agenda items? Seeing none, we will now move into item 4A. Commissioner Chairman Thomas Doty of the Calendar and Rules Committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll start this off with item 4A, which is the approval of the consent calendar items, and I put that in the form of a motion.
We need a motion. Oh, no, Thomas did. I'm sorry, with second. Yeah, Mr. Horner, yes. Mr. Horner, second. We have a motion, we have a second, and all in favor? Well, it's coming. Let's vote this motion, please.
0 nays.
That motion passes.
With item 4B in the regular calendar items, we have a couple of items that were, either one was not listed and another was listed incorrectly when the regular calendar was approved at committee. We will start with the first of those, and that will be adding in as item 7A, in the Justice Center Public Safety Committee section, change order number 12 for $12,404. And I put that in the form of a motion to add that to the regular calendar.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second to that motion? This is off the board, Commissioners, and we'll talk more in just a moment. We need a second to add that. We have a second from Commissioner Horn. Okay, Commissioners, what we've got here is our regular calendar is changing, so we're adding this. We will need a 2/3 vote of approval to add this to our regular calendar, and this vote will be off the board. Everybody clear? Is there any questions, any discussion? Let's vote this motion, please.
Debbie Ahern,
Yes.
Chris Cutshaw,
Aye?
Thomas Doty,
Yes.
Edna Green,
No.
Stan Harville,
Yes.
Bobby Hahn,
Yes.
Tim Horner,
Yes.
Joe Huntsman,
Yes.
Peggy Howell,
Yes.
Rodney Long,
Yes.
Mike Reed,
Yes.
Mike Richardson,
Yes.
Wayne Neesmith,
Abstain.
Kyle Walker.
Yes.
That's 12 yea, 1 abstain.
Okay, that motion passes to add item 7A, the change order number 12 for $12,404 to our regular calendar.
All right. The next item in that was 7C1, the Hamblen County Board of Education Budget Amendment Number 7, which was listed as an increase of $4 million, and that should have read Hamblen County Board of Education, or will now be 8C1, which is Hamblen County Board of Education Budget Amendment Number 9, for a total of $0 net increase. And I put that in the form of a motion.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
I'm sorry. I've got two.
That's fine.
Commissioner Ahern has seconded that motion. Once again, Commissioners, we have this before us. It takes 2/3 of the body to add this to our regular calendar. Let's call the roll, please.
Debbie Ahern,
Yes.
Chris Cutshaw,
Aye?
Thomas Doty,
Yes.
Edna Green,
Yes.
Stan Harville,
Yes.
Bobby Hahn,
Aye.
Tim Horner,
Yes.
Joe Huntsman,
Yes.
Peggy Howell,
Yes.
Rodney Long,
Yes.
Mike Reed,
Yes.
Mike Richardson,
Yes.
Wayne Neesmith,
Yes.
Kyle Walker.
Yes.
14.
And that motion passes. Chairman Doty?
Now, we have item 4B on the regular calendar, which will be the approval of the regular calendar items as amended by the previous two votes, and I put that in the form of a motion.
We have a motion. We have a second. Is there any discussion on approval of the regular calendar items? Seeing none, let's vote this motion.
Yea, 1 nay.
Motion passes.
I'll have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, sir. Item 6A, approval of consent calendar.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion. We need a second.
Second.
I'm sorry. Hold on. Excuse me?
Yeah.
Yeah, item 5, there we go. That's it. No worries. So we have a motion. We need a second. We have a second. Any discussion on approval of our consent calendar? Seeing none, let's vote the motion, please.
Thirteen yea, one nay.
And that motion passes. Okay, let's move to item 7, Justice Center Public Safety Committee Chairman, Mr. Horner, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Item 7A, the change order number 12 for $12,404, and I put that in form of a motion.
We have a motion, and we have a second. Is there any discussion on this item? Seeing none, let's vote this motion, please.
Yea, zero, one abstain.
And that motion passes.
That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, sir. We'll move right into item 8, Finance Committee. Chairman Hahn, you are recognized, sir.
Thank you, sir. Item 8A, commercial lease agreement for Matty B's Bounce House. That is a motion.
We have a motion and we have a second. Is there any discussion on this commercial lease agreement with Matty B's? Seeing none, let's vote this motion, please.
Thirteen yea, one nay.
And that motion passes.
Item 8B, annual debt report for year ending June 30, 2023. You have that in your book, Commissioners, and I make that motion.
We have a motion, we have a second. Is there any discussion on our annual debt report? Seeing none, let's vote this motion.
Yea, zero nay.
That motion passes.
Item 8C1, Hamblen County Board of Education, budget amendment number 9, $0 net increase. And I make that motion.
We have a motion and we have a second. Is there any discussion on this item? Seeing none, let's vote this motion, please.
Yea, zero nay.
Motion passes.
Item 8C2, Fund 101, Chancery Court, $5,000. I make that motion.
We have a motion and we have a second. Is there any discussion on this item? Seeing none, let's vote this motion, please.
Yea, zero nay.
And this motion passes.
Item 8C3, Fund 101, miscellaneous expenses, $7,000. I make that motion.
We have a motion. We do have a second. Is there any discussion on this item?
Do we have a breakdown on that 7,000? Are we, I'm sure it's in the appropriate place.
1 second. That was the trustees commission. It was adjusted because the revenues have increased. I don't have the breakdown in before me, but Commissioner Howell, I'm certain we can get that.
Yes, sir, thank you.
Do you need someone to speak to that?
No, I believe you.
Okay.
Chairman Cutshaw,
Yes, ma'am.
could I see Mr. Long this year? Would that be his department, sir?
It would be.
Could we ask the question, sir?
Amanda's got it.
That's just the percentage of the commission that they receive on each revenue that's received into the general fund. And because we have received more in income this year than what we anticipated, the commission that we budgeted is not enough. So we're having to increase it to cover the increase in revenue that we did not anticipate. So the more sales tax, the more income we get, the higher the trustees' commission.
Okay.
And it goes into the general fund. It doesn't go into like a designated account for the trustee. It's all in the general fund.
So it's not earmarked? Oh, boy, could we get lucky and find enough money to pay with that wheel tax?
Anyone else? Let's vote this motion, please. Commissioner Green?
I thought I did, I'm sorry. Thank you, sorry.
Yes, ma'am.
14 yeas, 0 nays.
This motion passes.
Item 8C4, Fund 101, Parks and Fair Boards, $5,000. And I make that motion.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. Is there any discussion on this item? Seeing none, let's vote the motion, please. Commissioner Howell?
Yep.
Thank you, ma'am.
13 yea, 1 abstain.
This motion passes.
Item 8C5, Fund 101, Tourism, $30,000. And I make that motion.
We have a motion and we have a second. Is there any discussion on this item? Commissioner Neesmith, you're recognized, sir.
Do we make anything on that 4th of July celebration? County get any money out of it?
Most years we've ended up in the black. And we
In the black.
In the black, yeah. We solicit.
You really end up in the black when you give them $30,000, don't you? You know you're in the black that much.
Well, we have $30,000 in the budget, and this move is just for cash flow because we'll receive most of the sponsorships next fiscal year. Because it's so close to the end of the fiscal year 23, and it's right at the start of 24, we have expenses that have to be paid in one year or in another. So this is just make sure that we don't overspend in this year's budget and get dinged on it on the audit. So, but most of the years we're in the black.
I can see where it's at. I remember back in the day when the rescue squad had that, they made money. They made money on that 4th of July park. But we're pouring in $30,000 and it comes back to tourism. But that's to pay bills. But is it none left after you get the bills paid?
Then there's $30,000 on the revenue side. This is just on the expense side. Then there's revenue on the revenue side of the budget that offsets them.
How much did we make last year on revenue? Any idea?
Probably a couple of $1,000. Somewhere around 2,000. It's not something we try to make.
Not a money maker, is it?
We don't try to.
It's a loser.
We try to pay for it.
It's a loser.
We try to pay for it.
Yeah.
That's what we do.
People have a good time, but as far as financially,
it's not a loser. It's part of quality of life. It's a great event. And we have about 7,000 people go there to see it every year, and hundreds more on the streets and lakes around it.
Are you completed, Mr. Neesmith?
Yes, I'm finished.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Howell, you're recognized.
Yes, thank you. We had a discussion about this. You weren't here. And not the only, but the good thing is there would be 50,000 firework displays in every kind of neighborhood. And I guess it just draws everybody there instead of blowing up their neighborhood street, and, is the good takeaway I got from that. It is still $30,000, but at least we're having money go up in smoke in one place instead of 50,000 homes. That's how I looked at it. Just thought I'd share that with you.
They don't shoot firecrackers down at your house on the 4th of July?
Well, I'm not telling about that with the, yep, I'm not telling about that, but, I know where the big celebration is. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Commissioners, I want to make sure you understand that we're putting the money up front, but most of this has come back to us through sponsorship. We don't lose on this. This is a benefit to our county to provide, everybody, a lot of people love it and attend it. Just like the mayor said, 7,000 kind of folks show up, but this is not like money that we expect to get this back. All minds clear? Let's vote this motion, please.
Yea, 1 abstain.
Motion passes.
Item 8C6, Fund 101, Public Health and Welfare Projects, $33,550. I make that motion.
We have a motion, we have a second. Is there any discussion on this item? Seeing none, let's vote this motion, please.
Yea, 0 nay.
This motion passes.
Item 8C7, Fund 116, Solid Waste Sanitation Fund, $6,000. I make that motion.
We have a motion, we have a second. Is there any discussion on this item? Seeing none, let's vote the motion, please.
Yea, 0 nay.
And this motion passes.
Item 8C8, Fund 128, Drug Use Abatement Fund, $383,396.90. I make that motion.
We have a motion, we have a second. Is there any discussion? Yes, sir, Mr. Neesmith, you are
These are,
recognized.
the way I understand it, these are two houses that we bought. How many people was in each house? How many people?
I don't recall the actual number. Mayor, do you recall? 6 to 8 in each one, I think, Wayne, is what they expect.
That's, how many month program is that?
Seemed like that was a continued service of at least 18 months or thereabouts, 12 to 18 month program, I do believe.
Have we had anybody get out of the program yet that passed?
Yes, sir, we have.
Amen.
We have. Now, forgive me, let me make sure I'm telling you right. The Recovery Court graduated their first person this past couple months ago, and there's others before the end of the year that they expect to graduate this program. That is correct.
Reason I asked that question, I see, I'm on Facebook a lot. I see where Matt's took a kid in that was homeless, got him in, got him a job, got him a house, cleaned him out a couple of years straight. So, and we don't pay them but $8,000, nothing on the house. We pay them $8,000 a year. So they got one clean guy. I don't know how many they do, but.
Well, Mr. Neesmith, just to make certain, this is for Recovery Drug Court, and Matt's would not. This is when someone's been within the system and they are recommended by judges to go through this to recover. It gives them an opportunity to get back to a normal life. And quite differently than what Matt's is doing, but
Matt's does drugs too.
I didn't know that.
Oh,
and evident, I don't know. I can't answer.
This boy was on drugs, homeless.
Okay.
Homeless is a big thing. Homeless, get them a job, get them a place to live. I didn't hear him. What did he say?
Sheriff said that you're not allowed into Matt's if you can't pass a drug test. So I can't argue either way, but the sheriff's gave us that information.
Yeah, I take that because Mr. Hyde used to be over that.
No, sir, that was abuse, drug abuse. Somebody help me with that. Drug Coalition was Mr. Hyde's.
Drug Coalition.
Yes.
In that same building?
No, sir.
Where's his place at?
His place is Mr. Hyde's not with us any longer, but that was
Oh,
across the street from Matt's.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir. Commissioner Green, you're recognized.
Just a little clarification there. I thought this was for the houses that we bought in Knoxville for Judge Boniface's.
They're not in Knoxville.
But-
Sorry to interrupt you, but those are here.
But it is Judge Boniface and her. Okay, so have they started that, being they were just now buying the houses and furnishing them?
No, ma'am, this drug recovery court has been in works for, I can't tell you how long the inception has been in, but the houses are new. They came to us, I think they were using other homes to maybe start. I can't answer intelligently to that.
You may be speaking of something else, but these recovery homes this is something new for recovery court, is they haven't had, I guess, safe, drug-free homes for some of their participants to go to once they get out of treatment. And so this is an alternative where some of the participants in the program can go there and live, work the program, and then eventually get out on their own. There was $500,000 appropriated for what's called the Northeast Tennessee Recovery Center up in Carter County, which is the old prison site, and that they'll start taking folks in August.
Let me clarify my question, because evidently I've caused some miscommunication. I was here when Judge Boniface and her husband came in and talked about doing a nonprofit, and the discussion was that Hamblen County would give, and I'm thinking the total was like $500,000, if my memory serves me correctly,
Correct.
and I could be wrong. But is this the same one that Hamblen County citizens forked the money out for, that has not went full blast, that's supposed to be a nonprofit?
No, you're talking about the Tapestry House. This money is opioid settlement money that the
part I
county
got.
was given through the opioid settlements. These are houses that have been purchased by the nonprofit that Dr. Asadni is chairman of, and that will house participants from the drug recovery court.
So these houses are already in use,
No, they're purchased, they're being furnished at this point.
okay? So I know the last time I asked the question, and you had brought to the county commission that you would fix the paperwork, being that Hamblen County citizens forked out this money, that if it did not survive, is the nicest way I know of putting the nonprofit, that Hamblen County wouldn't lose their money, that there'd be a way of, for lack of a nicer word, holding on to it.
In the deed where the county quitclaimed the properties to the nonprofit, there is a provision in there that they would come back to the county if they ceased operating.
Is that all assets or just the houses, out of curiosity?
I think on the deed, it would just be the houses. It's just the houses.
Thank you.
Mayor, could you clarify one thing? The COVID money, I'm sorry, the opioid money is only used for those type situations.
Correct. There's two buckets of COVID money, and the first is the endopharmaceutical settlement, which we were one of 9 counties that participated in that, and we received $1.8 million of that. Now, that has no restrictions. We've used that for treatment, we bought a scanning machine for the jail out of that money. We've bought it for drug-related treatment type functions, and we have a balance there. Now, the other money it's coming from the state through their lawsuit, the national lawsuit against the opioids. Those are for specific treatment purposes, and there's a list that's in the law that we can use it for.
Right.
And so that's out of that bucket that is restricted.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
One quick question, please, and I apologize.
Yes, ma'am.
That you were talking about the Fund 128 when you were talking about out of the drug fund for each one of those.
Correct.
According to the list I have in front of me, it had the body scanning, it had architectural services, it had transfer for the health department, then the recovery. And then there's some below that, so that's good. Thank you.
Bill, that money in recovery, it can't be used for anything. It couldn't go towards the roads, because how did it go towards the jail? Part of it. Scanner.
It was part of the 1.8 million that has no restrictions, but
Yeah.
also what they find in those body scans are drugs, and it's to keep the drugs out of the jail.
Well, being you brought up body scanning, you were aware that, and I was told this by one of the folks there, that if the drug is wrapped in cellophane, that it cannot pick it up. So who made that decision didn't do any testing evidently.
That's your opinion.
Because
Commissioner
you know,
Green, let's point of order this, and I'll allow the sheriff to speak to that real quickly, what you just proposed, but we should move on.
Rapid cellophane, Mr. Green, when they get put into the scanner and they have something inside them, it'll show a void. So it doesn't matter if it's wrapped in cellophane or not.
Okay, thank you for the clarification. Thank you, Chairman Cutshaw.
Yes, ma'am. We have a motion, we have a second. Is there any other discussion on this item? Seeing none, let's vote this motion, please.
Yea, one abstain.
This motion passes.
Item 8C9, Fund 131 Highway Public Works Fund, various, $17,522.89. I make that a motion.
We have a motion, we have a second. Is there any discussion on this item? Seeing none, let's vote this motion.
Yea, 0 nay.
This motion passes.
Item 8C10, Fund 151 General Debt Service Fund, $57,411.67. I make that motion.
We have a motion, we have a second. Is there any discussion on this item? Seeing none, let's vote the motion, please.
14 yea, 0 nay.
This motion passes.
Item 8C11, Fund 151 General Debt Service Fund, $125,986.96. And I make that a motion.
We have a motion, we have a second. Is there any discussion on this item? Seeing none, let's vote this motion, please.
Yea, 0 nay.
This motion passes.
That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Chairman Hahn. We will now move to item 9 on our agenda. Public Services Committee Chairman Mike Richardson, you are recognized, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Item 9A, surplus items for the IT department, and I put that in the form of a motion.
We have a motion. We have a second. Is there any discussion on this item? Seeing none, let's vote this motion, please.
14 yea, 0 nay.
That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Chairman Richardson. Before we get into item 10, Commissioners, are all minds clear?
I have a question, sir.
We have the board there. Chairman Howell, you are recognized, please.
Oh, okay, thank you, sir. This is my first budget, and I sort of didn't like it. And I am a happy Hamblen County resident. I'm a very reluctant taxpayer. And the $23 I'm going to be paying for all of our vehicles is unhappy. But by golly, everybody in this room is going to be looking for that street sign that says, road work ahead, And I hope the newspaper says, watch it, road so-and-so is getting paved. We're all looking forward to that. And I certainly hope it happens before Gwen's demise. But, in a perfect world, I hope it lasts a year. In the world we live in, it could last for 3 years while this body is here. But if we find that other money, as Ms. Noe suggests, by golly, I hope we do. But what brought me to this dance was people saying we need roads paved. So reluctantly, I'll be looking for those road signs that say, take another alternate route. But that's all I have to say. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Commissioner Howell. Commissioner Green, you're recognized.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Since we had the budget meeting, and we were handed 15 pages of budget meetings, I have a few questions for Mayor Britton and Finance Director.
Well, it's not on our agenda. This is for you to clear your mind if you've got something to say to the commission.
That's what I'm hoping you will give me the opportunity to ask, sir.
You can say this to the commission, but the meeting is over, basically. You have the right to, I'm giving you the opportunity to speak to this commission.
Okay. Well, I'd like to ask Mayor Britton and Finance Director Hale some
The meeting is
questions regarding
closed
the
at that point.
paperwork.
If they want to answer you, that's their choice, but this meeting is beyond the agenda.
Well, this is something a lot of people in my district are asking.
I agree. I'm asking you, Ms. Green, you can talk to Ms. Green. You have an opportunity to speak to this commission. If you have something to say to this commission, you are recognized. Otherwise, the meeting is beyond.
So you're telling me point blank, you will not give me the opportunity, wait just a minute, that you will not give me the opportunity as an elected Hamblen County Commissioner to ask my question of Mayor Britton and Ms. Hale, sir?
You can ask us. It's not on our agenda, ma'am.
If you have the information, I'd be more than happy to take it from you, sir.
Ms. Green, I've spoke my piece.
I'd like to speak mine if you would give me the opportunity,
You'll have to
please.
take that up at another date. If you have nothing to say to this commission, we're moving on. Does
I
anybody
think,
else?
Edna, what you can do, you can bring it up, but you're not gonna get an answer.
No, sir, that's not true,
He
and
says you can bring it up.
I did not say that.
What'd you say?
She can discuss it between this commission, as the meeting is over. The meeting is over. is
Well,
what
you
I'm
did
trying
say
to
you'd
tell
allow me to clear my mind, sir.
within the commission.
Well, they're all here, so it's a good time if you
Go
would.
right ahead.
But thank you. My first question is that it doesn't look a lot of lot of money from the American Rescue Plan, but there is 12 million there. Why can we not use that on the roads instead of putting a doggone wheel tax on there? We did that the last time 20 years ago, and it's still there.
Yep.
And I
Quick
have
an-
folks, just a
quick
minute,
an-
please,
yep.
sir. I have folks in my district that draw nothing but Social Security, and they flat cannot afford it. They don't go out to eat. They don't have extra money. That's my first question. My second question is, when did Mayor Britton find out that he was going to move the 12 cents from the school?
Most of those are.
Fine. If you would be so kind to bear with me and give me the courtesy, sir, like you would your mother, please.
Ms. Green,
Yes, sir.
this was a simple question to clear your mind, and these questions will have to be addressed at another time. This is not on our agenda. This was a simple opportunity to speak among ourselves.
Well, I'd like to finish my question if you would allow me the courtesy, sir.
You're on very short terms here.
Well,
right ahead.
I've been on short terms before. I'm
Well,
an old
enough.
lady.
Ms. Green, you're out of order. I'm asking you to be professional and move on, please.
Sir, I requested to speak. I am being professional, sir.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
if I could just address Ms. Green.
Please,
Please.
sir.
If you would submit those in writing, we'll answer those questions.
You can't give me an answer now, sir?
If you want to submit them in writing, we'll answer your questions.
So you did not clear your mind. He stepped in to give you he'll get your answers for you. Is there anyone else that'd like to have anything to say to this commission? If you will, please note, item 10, our next meeting is July the 10th. We'll have our our next call meeting is next Thursday, June the 29th. Is that correct? 29th. Next Thursday, we have a special call meeting that will be here at 5 o'clock. And then we'll move into our July session, July the 10th and July the 20th. This meeting is adjourned.